I can only say things like this because I understand them. I know death better than morticians, than all morticians and all murderers and all killers throughout history. I know death better. I can't put it into the good enough words, and I don't want to, because I don't want somebody to feel what I feel. But when I know what it's like to see myself in a casket within a lifeless body, if you can visualize ever being to a funeral and seeing an embalmed body laying there, when you see what it looks like lifeless, when just a few days ago or just a week ago or just sometime in your life, you saw that person alive and you saw them filled with that livingness. Now, not very often can someone see that lifelessness after seeing them alive and then see them alive again after that lifelessness. Because if you could, you would make such use of it. Now, since I've seen that from everybody's point of view, including my own in all the situations, it's so hard to put that into sensible words, but I don't need to because I know it. When I've seen that with my own family, with me being dead and them seeing me in my casket and me seeing through their eyes at me being dead, knowing that I can't die, but that person that they think they're going to lose or that I'll stop being, which doesn't scare me at all because I'm not worried about being shut off of acting like Dan, because I truly know what my being does when I die, and I'm not scared, so I won't go through a stress and a pain and a fear and any of those kind of reactions. There's bigger words to it, but the reactionary things that happen when you die are based off of what you know and don't know, or believe and don't believe, literally. If you don't understand that there is a level of consciousness computing after you die, you can't imagine it right now because you're living. When you die, it's the only thing that's real. That's why people who have near-death experiences say it was more real than real. It was so realistic and it was so whatever, because it's the only thing that's real. Material bodies aren't real forever. They're temporary. So yeah, you can say they're real. You can say this is the real world. You can say it's the physical world. But there's an energy that continues to live and remember itself through each of us, that once one being is close enough to it, they never leave it and it never leaves them, whether they are in the body or out of the body or floating through aerospace, because that's just part of the living world while you're here. Because my body and my personality are alive right now, they're always going to be here, whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm daydreaming, whether I'm astral projecting, whether I'm walking around in the world, whether someone's with me or whether they're not. And I won't be able to understand that depth of that side of dying until I lose this physical body. I know that makes no sense because I'm talking from a physical body, but that's what I'm saying. I've been there enough times to have to attempt to explain it, whether it makes no sense or not to most people. Because let's say it this way. I don't want to look and see my own parents, or say like you see your parent who's getting the really white or gray hair, they're a little hunched over, they're just looking so different than they used to when they were young and vibrant. Now, when you see them laying in their casket peacefully, never moving again, you think, boy, I wish I could have made something more. And that makes you look at them while they're alive and say, you know, I don't want you to die as my good memories. I want to live with you now. I want you to want to continue living the best of your ability while you're here. And that doesn't mean do whatever you've always done, because that's not going to do anything besides be a rerun. You're living the past over and over again. And life is about learning. And there's more to understand until you get to that point where you're in your inner peace, place of inner peace, and you're not watching violence or not eating horrible stuff, whatever age you're at. Once you get to that point, you see clearly. And it may seem boring and dull to other people, but that's what truth is. And truth is the most beautiful thing, when you can actually hold on to it and keep it there amidst all the possible distractions and the desirable things out there, the things that take you away, the things that just distract you into doing things that you didn't expect yourself to even do in order to get them. But not getting off topic, I just want to say, like, when death is here, which it's always here, I feel like I'm in the moment of death, on my deathbed every moment, and just wanting to say, if I could do it all over again, I'd do this. And guess what? I'm here right now, able to do it. And since I know that Ebenezer Scrooge feeling on the day of Christmas, every moment of my life, I want to make the best of it. Now. And everyone I meet is just like, lay back and chill, man. There's so many problems in the world, but I just want to chill. Well, that doesn't make sense, man. There's so many problems that we need to fix. And there's things that we need to all talk about as mature adults, mature beings, period. There's things we need to worry about and handle and do. Instead of saying, nah, man, I don't want to worry about that. There's other people worrying about that. There's other people taking care of the vital parts of my life. Now we have to stop doing that, because one day you will be stiff in a casket and you'll be thinking to yourself, oh man, I wish I could have done that differently. But even if I get a new chance, it's not going to be anywhere near the same, because that person's gone, and all those storylines and all those things are going to be completely different, and no one would understand it. And I understand that so well, because once you know what you've done and you want to make it better, it doesn't matter if you say, I remember being them. And people go, what? You don't remember being them? You couldn't. And I'm like, well, even if I could, it wouldn't make any sense, because I'm in this body now and I want this body to have a good time. So even if I do remember what it was like to do that, somebody that I see it in the book, and I remember their whole life. I see anything and I remember their whole life. It's so hard to explain, and I try not to do it because it's a lot for the mind. It's so much for the mind. Many people have had this kind of thing, but they just lose their mind because they don't understand why they're seeing so many different outcomes of life, because it's all happening at once. And you have to keep thinking to yourself who you are, and what you're doing here. I mean, not to that extreme. I mean, not all the time, but there are times when it can get that extreme where it's hard to even keep your one point of thought in focus, because you're everything. Now, I said that because I've just been worrying about people not the best of their life, just more of their life, doing something different, not just living the same routine over and over because it's safe and comfortable. Get really uncomfortable for yourself, because if you do the same thing for 30 or 40 years and that's just your excuses, well, because I've always done this, that's a really boring life. And you don't want to die that way. You don't want to die as your good memories, because all you're doing is living them over again to the best of your ability. But now as you get older, you can't do those things the same. And if you sit and you watch things that remind you of what you used to do, all you're doing is living the past, and you're going to die as a good memory. And I don't want to do that with anybody. I don't want to live and have I haven't seen my brother in 20 years. I remember when we used to go do this as kids. I don't want that. I want to live together now. And I want to be as one, because we are, whether we like it or not. But people don't see it that way. And it may seem like I'm just rambling, going all over the place. But that's because I can say anything about everything, because I understand it. And I care. And this is my family that I'm talking to. Everything that hears me, everything that's anywhere is my family. And I care about it and want to help do the best I can to see it all flourish and be the best. Be the most peaceful, the most cooperative, the most joyous, the most beneficial and meaningful and loving and experiential and growth-inducing thing that I can be. That's what I want. And if I could meet someone else like that, like me, that really wants that, boy, are we moving in the right direction. So I'm not going to worry about how off I went. I love you guys, and that's all that matters. Peace.